This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bills fans, welcome to 24/7 Buff Fandemonia presents the K-Gun Report, Season 3, Episode 3. I'm Jarrod. Joining me tonight, we have Scott.
Hey!
Swank.
Yo! What's up,
The
everybody?
Fandemonium is here, as usual. We have the Facebook world, we have the YouTube world, and Swank. What's new today?
New today is I done figured out how to cheat the system, and we're on Twitter for the first time ever. So, what's up, Twitter? Nice to see you.
What up, Twitter world?
Thanks for coming.
We're going to let
hang out
everybody
with
know you
K-Gun.
cheated the system, though, Swank?
Yeah, I don't care. Whatever, man. They can't do
All
nothing
right.
about it. Find me. My name's Scott Reed. I live at...
My name's Scott Reed. You can catch me on Twitter at Scott247 Buff and BF.
and,
That's where you can find.
my name's Swank, and you can catch me at 24/7 Swank 24/7 BF at Swank 24/7 BF.
And I'm Jarrod 24/7 BF. If you can't remember all that, it is down on our name tags. So welcome to the party, everybody. Tonight, actually, we have something special going on. It's our Mr. Levi Wallace COA signed home Bills jersey giveaway. Now, we all know that he went to the Steelers, so hopefully we have some Steelers fans joining the party today so they can get in on it. But we're only going to stick to, unfortunately, we got to figure out this whole Twitter thing still. So the comments on YouTube and Facebook are what is going to qualify you for your name on the Fandemonium Wheel of Destiny to win that jersey. So leave a comment during the live stream on Facebook or YouTube, and you're put on there, and we'll run that probably for Sunday sessions again to see who wins that. So Sorry, Twitter world, if you want to in on that jersey, jump on Facebook or
Yep.
YouTube really quick.
Just pop on over there. We got a ton of people chatting it up already over on Facebook. We got Patrick Hughes, Troy Pedito. We got Diana Thomason Kirkdorfer. We got Ellen Lartz. We got Birdo, Lonnie Cook, Keely Smith, Daniel Ochoa, I think. We got a ton of people, man. Keely, John Johns, Antonio Lano. What up, Tony?
Is Scott there? Scott, are you there or are you off camera?
I don't know.
I am here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Buffalo Spartans here too, Scott.
This is Sparta!
From behind the curtain,
I had to make
there
sure
he is.
everyone heard
Jesus,
that.
what were you doing? Putting your pants on?
My heater was about to kick on, and that's a loud sound bitch, so I had to kick that off quick.
Really quick, over on YouTube, we got our buddy. Let's talk 716 Sports.
What's up, Robbie?
How you doing, Robbie? Thanks for coming and hanging out, man. If you're not, please go follow and check out Robbie's show. Let's talk 716 Sports.
There you go. I was on his show a couple weeks ago. We talked some Buffalo Bills football. Had a good old time. That's an R&R Productions stream that they got going over there, and Ranting Ron's also on that stream too. So yeah, definitely follow, like, share 716 Sports for sure. Good
Hell
kid.
Yeah. Troy wanted to know where Scott went. He went to check his heater so it wouldn't get loud, which I'm going to guess means, whatever your information, your brain informs you.
Speaking of loud, our Buffalo Bills made some loud news this week. There's a lot to go over in this hour show today.
Hey, nice segue. Really nice segue,
I try.
Man.
Sometimes I try. Sometimes I nail it right on the head. Guys, let's just open up this conversation with the big news for Buffalo Bills fans. Most Bills fans love the fact that Buffalo we're going to have a new stadium right there in Orchard Park, right across the street from Abbott Road. And it's $1.4 billion. Scott, you shared with Swank and I in our messenger. What's $1.4 billion compared to other stadiums? Remember you told us?
Well, the little research I did, out of the 6 stadiums that are above $1 billion bought and paid, 4 of them are domes. 4 of them are covered. And then the big number, obviously, that big one that they built for the Rams and the Chargers, is like a $5.4 billion, which is crazy money. But, yep, and the stadiums aren't going to get any cheaper. So to get this stadium at 1.4 for 30 years, guys, the Bills are in Buffalo for 30 years. And me and Swank were talking about this before the show went live. Can you imagine where we were in 2014 when we didn't know who was gonna buy the Bills? Trump, Bon Jovi, Kermit, and we don't know where they would have gone. And now the Pagulas have made it so we are committed to Buffalo for 30 more years. I'm going to be 76 years old before they start thinking about another term somewhere else. That's huge news.
76, huge news. Bro. Wow.
Jarrod, here's a funny, interesting stat for you. In 2014, how much did the Pagulas purchase the Buffalo Bills for? Can you tell me that answer? $1.4 billion. The same exact cost as the stadium's going to cost. Isn't that something? Circle of life. Isn't that awesome?
A couple details for that. You said 300 years, 30-year contracts, 60 to 62,000 seats. Mind you, the seats are going to be a little bit wider from what I hear, so it's going to be a nice comfort setting for the individuals going to the game. Also, if the stadium's bigger with less seating, that means...
Give me a little sound effect. Give me a little sound effect. Really
shoo, 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 shoo. Boom.
That is a stadium that's going to be modeled after that Scott sent us a picture. So I figured while we were going through all this stuff you were explaining, we could get a little visual of where all the inspiration came from.
Right. So it said that the cover is going to cover 80% of the seats. So that's why you got the hole in the middle and pretty much a good covering over everything. 60 to 62,000 individuals that'll be seated. That I don't think there's going to be a bad seat in the house with that number. They are going to allow 5,000 or maybe a little bit more in for standing room only. They're going to have a patio or a plateau for people to stand and watch the game from, which is going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Couple party decks apparently.
Yeah, 80% covered. Like I said, the state $600 million, the county $250 million, the NFL $200 million. With that $200 million though from the NFL, it's not on all Buffalo. It's the revenue that they make from other teams coming in too will participate in that $200 million. And the Pagulas are putting forth $250 million, but in the contract, whatever $350 million, whatever more monies need to be put into the stadium after all this is done is on the Pagulas' record, on their cash flow. So also in the contract that if the Pagulas decide to move the team, they have to pay what's left of the contract to the NFL or something like that.
100%. There's they have to pay the whole entirety of the price.
Right.
And
That's a great contract.
The way I heard it on the radio, it was actually no matter who owns it right now, because it's going to be a state facility. If they move the team, whoever owns it at that time has to take on that entire cost and pay it back to the state. Yep. So, I don't know, man. I think it's awesome. I think it's a win-win-win-win. I know some people are upset about the funds being funneled in that direction, but I'll tell you what, man. Scott and I were talking about it right before we came on. I can't remember something that I've enjoyed my taxes going to as much as this right now in a long time. And also, it's kind of nice, like, you know, we talk a lot up here, or it gets talked about a lot up here, that, you know, the city takes a lot. Like, they put a lot of tax money in, but they also take a lot of tax money. And, you know, this is something that, like, we can enjoy for years and years and years. Kids can enjoy for years and years and years. It's not just for football. There's going to be crazy concerts there. It's going to be a destination for some stuff. You know, like, I just think this town deserves this stadium. They deserve it the way it got done. They deserve the Pagulas. They deserve Josh Allen. Like, why not just have it all before the price of these stadiums just goes completely bonkers? I mean, I know 1.4 billion is nuts, but, like, imagine what it's going to be in 10 years. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just, it's out of this world anyway. I love that they're keeping it small still. I think, like, your ticket prices are going to go up, but you're going to have a brand new state-of-the-art facility that still has that small town feel. And I think that you're going to be hard-pressed to get season tickets this year, let alone in 2026 when this new place opens. So, I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's great for this. I think it's awesome that's still in Orchard Park. I think that's huge. I know a lot of people were talking about downtown, but they were talking about the ROI, like the return on investment for moving it downtown, how much more money it was going to cost, and also how much more it was going to cost to put a dome on it and to get the return on their investment. It was going to be a long, huge amount of money. So,
and plus 300 million to put it downtown because of all the earth they have to move and all the infrastructure that's already there that they have to move around. So they said it was going to be an extra 300 million if they did that. Yeah.
You know what's exciting?
I was going to say, Rob Mullen said, why do you think the Pagulas passed on the financial rewards of a dome stadium?
On WGR 550 today, Steve Tasker was on talking, and the people, they've gone through a lot of routes and a lot of people, and a lot of investors, and a lot of professionals to discuss what would be the best. They took fans' opinions into it. They took the NFL's, obviously. They did a lot of research on this. And the reason why the dome thing wasn't a way that they were going is because they figured that that's not Buffalo. They figured that that's not the area, the region. They're not built for dome activities. And that's what I heard. And so I kind of believe it. Like the Bills people, we are a mafia that we don't need a dome, and that's just not us. That's just not us. That's not Buffalo Bills football. It's not tradition, and it's just the way it is. And they're going to get plenty out of this dome because they're going to have venues for weddings, meetings, a lot of events going on, even potentially soccer. And with the word that it's going to be a grass field is awesome. That means a lot for injury prevention. So I'm excited for that. And that is the reason why I heard that they didn't put the dome on it, and a lot of money. You're looking at $400 million more.
Yeah, I think it's just what we need, right? It's good for what we are and who we are, and it'll sustain. And really, the most important part about, I don't care about any of this other than they're going to be here for 30 years. They're guaranteed to be here for 30 years. You know, the one thing that we didn't talk about was that it's going to be a grass field. That's what it's rumored to be. I think that's awesome. I think that goes hand in glove with the way the Pagulas treat the health and the physicality and overall training for their players. Grass is better for your knees, for your joints. You know, like, I think it's just working itself out into being like a really, really good thing.
Like, not only is it good for your lower knees, but it's definitely good for your high knee too.
Yeah, you got to protect that. Got to protect the high knee.
Brent Thomason has the comment of the night.
What's soccer?
Jared, can I throw this out there real quick? A lot of fans were yes, we have 50 years in the stadium we have now, Rich Stadium, Ralph Wilson, Highmark, New Era. We have 50 years there. This year is going to be the 50th year we celebrated there. And every single year we are putting millions and millions of dollars into making it better or fixing things that needed to be fixed. And it's a nice little bowl underground. Those wings that are on the side, guys, their expiration date is within 5 years. Mm-hmm. So the Bills would not only spend their normal renovation monies, but they would have to renew every one of those wings, the 300 sections, completely, because those are going to expire. So this is a move that had to have been done.
Yeah.
Yep. And I absolutely understand why a dome would have been in people's thoughts, because you can use that year round. Rob Mullen brings up great points, concerts during the wintertime, the NCAA tournament and all that stuff. But it's going to be interesting to see what the stadium details look like, because like you said, Scott, the field's only one part of it. There's going to be venues and stuff in there to have weddings and views of the field during, business meetings and stuff like that. And who knows, they might open up stores and like maybe have a mall within it. Who knows what the details are, but it hopefully will be bringing revenue for the whole year. But we'll have to see. We will have to see.
So Jared, you mentioned wider seats, which is good. I also heard that temperature control for like 90% of the seats. So it's not just the 200 sections and the booths and all that stuff. Everywhere is going to be weather controlled. This dome, if you look at the image.
What can go wrong with electronics?
Right. And the wind factor, the way the dome's going to be shaped, the wind factor is not going to affect the fans, but you will feel it on the field. And like I said, the party decks. My favorite thing about this Mafia, Hammerlot's still going to be open.
Yeah.
All these party lots are still going to be open. We aren't going to lose our tailgating areas. They may be adjusted a little bit, but we're still going to have the places to tailgate. It's still going to be a hella ride for any of these visitors coming in through the gauntlet, I call it, because it is like one when you're coming down Abbott. We're not missing a thing with this stadium. We just have to wait 4 years to do it.
Yeah, and that's okay, man. We've waited longer than that for more important things, I think. So,
yes. Rob again is also saying that there's talk of New York State High School Hall of Fame going in there, which would be awesome too. Yeah. Swank, I'm going to give you a minute to think about this. I think you know what question we're going to be talking about the stadium. Fandemonium. We're having a brand new stadium come in here. What name do you want on that stadium? Swank. I know we kind of threw this on you really quick. Scott mentioned it probably 20 minutes ago, but if you're going to name this brand new stadium, what is it?
I know where Scott's going, so I'm going to go away from that. And there's been some really, really good banter going on in the Facebook comments. And I'm really falling in love with the house that Josh built. I think that's awesome.
I just wrote that down to mention it.
Did you, dude? The house that Josh Allen built is like, seriously, they should put a statue of that guy out there right now. Like, he's literally revitalized the whole deal. And if it's not Josh Allen Stadium by the time he retires in 30 years, it should be.
Scott, what's the stadium name?
Oh boy, I am going the obvious. I think it's going to be a fan favorite. When you listen to these guys talking about the stadium, the guys were part of the discussion. They said that they did take the Bills Mafia, the fans, into a large part of the decisions. They've contacted and put out surveys and all that stuff for the season ticket holders because they wanted their opinions and all that stuff. And I believe since the Bills bought out the Bills Mafia term, I think that whoever pays for it, whoever buys the stadium after Highmark leaves this current one, should probably throw Mafia in there. I would love Bills Mafia Stadium. I mean, if you're going to build it for the fans, based on the fans and all that stuff, Bills Mafia Stadium.
If you want to get like,
it's cliche.
If you want to get a whole city to do nothing but buy whatever the hell you sell, if you like name it for the Mafia, or like Highmark Stadium for the Mafia or something like that, just to have it in there, dude. I mean, it would be genius. It would absolutely be genius. And this whole thing is built around this community. Just like we're saying, everything about this stadium is built to keep that tradition, which I 100% love, because I'm a sucker for that. Like, I'm a sucker for what my first game felt like. Anything changes beyond all those years in the slightest that isn't a positive, and I'm like, ugh, it feels like you lose a little bit of it. But with this, combining the old with the new, like, I don't know. I just think if you rooted it into that, I mean, it's a slogan a professional football team adopted based on what the fans were doing in the first place. You know what I mean? I think it's genius.
Well, you guys ready for mine? All
Sure,
right, here we go. Let's read a couple. Let's read a couple of these first. Mafia Stadium, Mafia House. I saw a different one on here. Call it One Buffalo Stadium. I like that one too. Bills fucking Mafia, Brent Thomason. All right, mine would be, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fathomonium Field.
Man, we better sell some
t-shirts. Remember how we set our goals each year, Swank?
Yeah.
2026.
Jarrod has this awesome way of, like, we try to keep things in, like, perspective a little bit and be like, all right, maybe we could do this. And, like, for all intents and purposes, man, we blew out what we wanted to do last year by a million. Talked to more professional football players than I can even imagine that we would have done during this whole thing. So it's awesome. But, like, you know, Scott and I, we try to stay a little grounded. And then Jarrod, he'll just swing that homer bat, man, and it'll go right over the fences. But it's good because it kind of, like, there's always something there. You know, there's always something to reach for. So
I'm just waiting for Jarrod to say, how about we mic Josh Allen during a game and we go live
we're just in his ear?
Yeah, just in his ear.
Hey, Josh, what are you doing? Hold on one second.
We have New York's only professional football stadium.
I like that.
Pandemonium Field. Rob loves it. Just saying. And Wilson Pagula Stadium.
There you go. Hey, guys, if you're listening, don't be afraid to write a comment, because if you leave a comment, you will be entered to win this Levi Wallace jersey that we have. COA authenticated. Right here. Leave a comment. You're entered to win that. That's all you got to do. And that's all you got to do.
That's only on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're over on Twitter, hitch on over there and just use a comment. As soon as we can figure out how to track it live, then Twitter will be involved as well.
Oh yeah.
We got Uncle James chiming in saying Levi Stadium.
Yeah, I was thinking Levi. Yeah.
The Marv.
Welcome to the Marv. All right, guys. Stadium talk. It's a wonderful thing. It's great news for the Buffalo Bills organization and the Mafia and the family and the fans. So that's going to be something that we're going to be riding high for a little bit, which is a great thing. Let's get on to some players here really quick that we re-signed this past week. Let's start with number 1, Taiwan Jones, coming back, special teams ace, running back. Scott, what's that mean to the Buffalo special team that Taiwan's coming back?
Well,
it's okay, there you go. You want this?
I'm telling you, they have all the faith in the world in Singletary. I think they're going to give Moss another year, even though he's got 2 years on his contract, to prove that he is situational football. You know, the short yardage, spelling Singletary every once in a while, maybe in goal line carries. And then a move like that Duke Johnson move was a good move. It was a third down back that they went that is known to be a good pass protector and is also known to be a good receiver out of the backfield. And I think that's a style offense we might see from Ken Dorsey. This Taiwan Jones move, I think, is another brilliant move, and it's strictly a special teams move. You never see him out there in the field in the offense, but you always see him out there making plays on special teams, and that's a third of the game. And I think he's a very key component. We have another captain coming back to this team. He deserves to be on this team.
100%, man. I love it. I think, you know, he's just that special teams ace that, you know, he's a gunner. He's nuts. He's older, but, like, I don't think that he's worn his body out, because literally all he does is special teams, you know? So, yeah, a cheap deal, a solid deal. You're keeping all of those core components in place and just making things better and better. So I love it.
Resigning Taiwan Jones just means he's still not touching the football. Laugh out loud. Mike Vogue says that.
That's
Diana
true.
loves it.
Unless he's putting a shoulder on somebody on a kick return. And that's fine.
Rob brings up a great point. Still haven't gotten over Jones's TD versus us in the Houston playoff game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough one because he came in. That was that missed tackle. But what you gonna do? What you gonna do? All right.
Real quick.
Well,
real quick here, Uncle James had a question. If we want to dive into a little bit more of free agency stuff quick, he was wondering, can we make Bradbury happen? He feels like we would be complete. Bradbury from the Giants.
I'll tell you what needs to happen first, Uncle Jamie. They need to extend Diggs' contract, and I don't see that happening until next year. That's the only way I can see them making money to be able to bring in Bradbury. Unless they gave up $8 million worth of all their draft capital, I don't see that happening.
What about a restructure of
Trey White could be
Josh or
restructured.
Trey? Yeah, I mean, I think there's ways to do it. I don't think the compensation to the Giants would be the problem because at this point, I don't care if they trade away, 2 or 3 picks to get a starting corner. Like it doesn't.
I was just gonna say that.
Bother me at all. But like you're saying, it's the money, and I think actually, Jamie and I were talking about this at work today. I think Josh Allen's the kind of guy that would be like, yeah, sign and bonus me out and push it down the line and bring in a dude that can shut down that side of the field. So we'll see.
Would you guys be okay? Would you guys be okay with the number 1 going?
What's that?
Well, yeah.
The 25th pick being traded out with Bradbury, would you be okay with that?
Same exact concept as when they
Diggs.
went and grabbed Diggs.
Yep.
We wanted them to get a wide receiver in that first round, and what better way to grab a wide receiver than a proven wide receiver instead of gambling on someone in the draft? So if I believe the same thing goes for the first round of this draft. If you can go out and get someone that is a proven starter in the NFL, I think that's a move you're going to make. And the last I saw Bradbury, Jarrod, is 3 years, $45 million at contract that he's currently in. So we'd be paying him 15.
Mike Voigt just said Bradbury, I think, just signed with someone unless he's thinking of a different Giants CB. I didn't hear anything about him getting signed, but maybe. I'll take a gander.
Lonnie Cook, I don't understand this drafting stuff, spending too much money. Lonnie Cook, I just want to throw this out there, and the Fandemonium and the Mafia probably agree with me. There's a reason why there's only a select few GMs in this, 32. Not too many people know exactly what they're talking about when they talk about drafting and all that capital. They can get close, but we have a guy that's running our team, Bean, that knows how to bend money and make it work and re-sign contracts and restructure them so he makes it work. So not a lot of people do get it, and it's fine. It's totally understandable. But we have someone in the head office there that knows what he's doing. So let's just rely on him, and then whatever decisions he makes, then we're happy with it.
So far, so good, man.
Yeah.
Right now, they're saying Bradbury's biggest suitor is the Kansas City Chiefs. So they're still talking. There were some reports a couple days ago that they were really close, but it seems like it's cooled off right now.
Interesting. They saved money getting rid of Tyreek for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they still got a lot of big guys on contracts, and I don't think Juju's contract was all that friendly.
Probably
right?
not.
Yeah, so I don't know. Who knows, man? Those Chiefs. The cap isn't real.
Doesn't exist.
All right. And I know, okay, so we'll move on to the next. We want a sound effect for this picture?
Yeah, got it.
Can I do it?
How long is it going to
Zoo,
be?
zoo, 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 zoo.
Pointed the wrong way.
Did it work? Oh, okay. I think a lot of Mafia and Fandemonium's happy with this. Ike Boker and, oh my gosh,
Ryan Bates.
I was going to say Rick because someone says, isn't it Rick on Facebook the other day? I was like, no, it's not Rick.
Good old Ricky Bates.
Two signings that a lot of us thought that only one was possible, but it happened where both were. Swank, what's your take on these two guys coming back?
You know what it's like to me? It's like when Bean signed all those guys last year. Like when we were like, oh man, like 3 of those dudes are gone. And then Milano signed and Feliciano signed and like everybody signed. And we're like, what? How do you keep everybody? This I for sure thought when Bates was in Chicago and they weren't matching his deal. And then all of a sudden, Bodiger's contract got released that they were signing him, and I was like, oh, well, I guess they were like, let's see what happens when Ryan goes out fishing, and if he comes back and he's too rich, then fine, and we'll pick the other guy. And then they signed Bates too, and I'm like, dude, now, like, they've done this to us. Do you guys at home realize Bean has done this to us like 4 times this offseason, where we're like, you got to shore that up. You got to do something about that. We got to draft heavy on this. And then all of a sudden it's like, boop. Oh, okay. Oh, defensive line. Well, we need ends. All right, ends. Okay, well, but listen, we need to shore up that one side of the line. Like, oops, Saffold. Oh, okay. Well, what about guards? Because we need guards. Oh, okay. And it's like,
let's get to.
All right, well, now I'm at the point, and I don't know if you follow me on Twitter or whatever, I just put out my first mock draft of the season, and it was 8 picks of glory. The only one that wasn't a cornerback was our punter.
Yeah.
With our first 7th round pick. But other than that, man, I say corner the hell out of it. Obviously, it was a joke, but like, I would not be mad if definitely the first 2. If he did 3 in a row, I'd be like, okay.
Swank called that.
So far, so good. I'll put the fucking FanDuel bet in, the parlay. But.
So you know what's cool is every Sunday we actually do a draft profile. 24/7 Buff Pandemonium does Scott and Swank's pre-draft show. Catch us every Sunday at 11 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
We've actually talked about the quarterback 2 weeks ago, Andrew Booth Jr., who was someone that could fall in the 25th pick. And we kind of went through a curveball in there. We went interior offensive line this week, and it was a guard. And then a couple days later, we signed Bulker and Bates. Yeah. So find out who we're going to pick this next week, because every week we go in to do it, we have to change it up a little bit, because I don't see us going after a guard in the first round anymore.
Well, that was funny because you had to change the D-line show we were going to do, because they got all those D-linemen, and then we were talking, oh, yeah, guard. And I was like, oh. So now just corners, dude. We got to just keep jamming corners down, because apparently whatever we say, they fulfill. So it's good.
Right.
The more they fill the roster with what the Mafia and what obviously they think they need, the more excited I get about what the draft might look like, because now I know there's quite a bit of cornerbacks that are a decent grade, right? I think, Scott, would you have 9 going in the first round, possibly?
Potentially 8, yep.
The NFL and each team has their own scouts and stuff like that. So if they're going to go for CBs, and Swank, I think you mentioned that during your Sunday sessions there, that if there's a guy that they really want that's going to be top 1, 2, like a Trey White, right? Yeah. Bring in another guy that's going to be shut out right off the bat. Why not trade up for him? And if we can trade out 3 rounds to move up, this can be interesting to watch. It can be fun to watch. And we're going to be watching it, right, guys?
Yeah.
The draft.
April 28th, we're going to have our draft live show, 4-hour show. We're going to drink. We're going to eat. We're going to talk Bills football. We're actually going to try to guess every one of these draft picks, guys, and we're going to bomb horribly. But we have a lot of fun doing it, just like we have a lot of fun doing the show. A lot of stuff we say, we're armchair GMs, guys. This is all back in the day. We used to hang out on the back porch of our local watering hole and talk Buffalo Bills football, and we have our opinions. Swank has his own. I have my own. Jarrod has his own. You guys have your own. We love to hear it, but that's what we're going to do on this draft party, is just talk about football and try to pick picks for these teams.
Yeah, man. It'll be a good time. We're taking phone calls. We're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So come hang out. And it'll be just like the 3 of us were hanging out at a bar, except for you guys will be on the phone, and we'll be eating pizza and drinking away from you.
We do have something that might be sneaking in for that draft party too, because our awesome sponsor from Buffalo Autographs, Ryan Hickman there, just sent us a lovely image of something he wants to give away during that draft party. And Scott, what is it?
Oh yeah, it's a nice little Gabriel Davis mini helmet, but it's that shiny blue.
The blaze blue or something.
The blaze
like that,
blue
right?
helmet that come on the show, comment, and then that could potentially be yours. But yeah, that's
So-
coming from Buffalo Autographs. The Facebook page, they do razzes and giveaways, and if you don't want to do any kind of razzes or gamble with your money, go straight to www.buffaloautographs.com. You can straight up purchase these items.
Yep. The best sponsor, period, ever, anywhere. Go get everything from there. Spend all of your money there. And then hang out on the draft show. That's all you got to do. Patrick Hughes wants to know if I'm going to do a beer chug challenge at the draft party. And I'm okay with that. Is it going to be, what are you thinking, Patrick, like against the three of us? Or people call in and we chug? I don't know how it's going to go. But I'm about it. We can chug a beer. I don't think I can chug every single challenge from every single person.
I challenge you.
I think Brent Thomason will be on the phone 24 hours a day if I say that I'll chug beers 1-to-1 with him. But yeah, man, I'm all about that. It'll be fun. Who's Gregory Dornbush?
Gregory Dornbush.
He was here last week.
Welcome,
He's
man.
the guy that, this is the second show in a row. Greg, welcome. Dotson for first round pick. That's who he wants.
Wide receiver out of Penn State.
There you go.
Going wide receiver.
Never
Jared, you know what's awesome about this Bates pickup for 4 years? This is
four
guys,
years.
First
That's
of all,
awesome. That's
first
awesome.
of
4
all,
years.
Mafia, Bates, Bean. Be happy for this guy. He's a young buck. He's bounced around a little bit, position to position. He's finally earned a spot. They signed him 4 years because he's going to be our starting right guard. He finally is going to be given a starting chance. But what this does for our line, other than Saffold, who they just signed a couple weeks ago as a 1-year deal, we're going to have 4 out of our 5 linemen for 3 years. 4 out of our 5 linemen for 3 years are committed.
It's crazy, man.
That's awesome.
That's what you need.
Swank, I think that's where you're going, right?
Yeah,
Quarterback protection.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
I mean, you have a quarterback like Josh Allen. This is that Patriots model, man. This is the Tom Brady model. You solidify a solid line, and you continuously add depth to it in quality positions and spots and draft picks and whatever. You get value, you scout, you do all this stuff, but you just make sure that you have tanks in front of Josh Allen for the whole time that he's here, because that is the most important thing. Like, it really is. He has to have weapons, but look at some of these look at Tua, like look at Bengals, Burrow, man. Burrow got destroyed. If he wasn't getting sacked on his ass for 3/4 of the game, every single game, like how insanely crazy would his stats be, So it's just so foundationally important to have a good line. And I think, yeah, add to it, stack it, do it, solidify it. And if somebody's messing up, get them out of there.
Yep.
We have the depth now, too, so that's going to be something to watch during training camp.
Right now, it's
Ike
Boecker, Ryan Bates, Capra, Saffold, the new guy, and Cody Ford. And Swank and I talked earlier this week about Cody Ford, new coach, and Cromer, new coach, new player. They haven't said anything about Ford. We know the fans basically have given up on him, but with new coaching, you never know what Ford potentially could be into, what he can learn, what he could take from it, and you never know how he could develop. He's still young, guys.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he came in and coached the 2015-2016 Buffalo Bills and led the way with leading the league in rushing for those 2 seasons. So he's a good offensive line coach. So that's going to be something. Paul Rossi wants to know are any of you fans of taking the Iowa State running back in the first round? Do you know who that is, Scott? He's a draft guy. Oh, he's on it.
The Iowa State?
Yep.
Breece Hall.
What do you think?
Hall. I only have 2 running backs potentially going in the first round. 3, actually. Breece Hall.
Not to our Bills, though, right?
No, Walker the third from Michigan State and Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M. I think those are the only 3 running backs potentially that can go in the first round. There's plenty of talent in the 3rd and 4th round, but that Breece Hall guy is pretty impressive. And if the Bills are going best player available, I think they got everyone they need. They got Singletary, Moss. They got the 3rd down back in Johnson. They got Tywan Jones back. I can't see them spoiling any more draft picks on running backs. But, I mean, he's talented. He has a talent.
Guys, I don't know if I told you this, but last week, remember how we were asking if anybody knows a brewery, anything that wants to sponsor us, and so we can drink their beverages on Sunday sessions and K-Gun Report and throughout the week and share. Well, Paul Rossi said he would buy our beer for the draft party, guys.
Oh, geez, wow!
Did I tell you that?
Yeah, last week.
I told you that.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
I don't know if he's on, but thanks ahead of time, Paul, for offering that. We'll definitely cheers to you, my friend. And
we can do chugs with him.
Yeah, we can do chugs with you. And don't worry, Paul. Don't worry, Paul. We are not going to go buy those $19 piece IPAs.
Maybe. I've been a big Utica Club guy lately.
Have you?
Like that's been my PBR, but then my off pay week beer, I've been switching it up to Utica Club, and then they just did the Ruby Red Kolsch. Yeah, I had one of those to start the night off.
Oh, yeah, that's a good beer. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Hughes, new shirt idea: Bean 316.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
I like that. I like that.
All right, so we're getting our free agents on the team. We talked about Bradbury a little earlier. Any other players you guys want to chat about quick? You guys want to talk about Stefan Diggs really quick and all his cryptic Twitters and all that stuff, and what Bean's been saying about his professionalism and all that stuff?
Sure. You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead, Swank. Lead the way.
I think everybody needs to relax. I
think
that he is fine. I think that this is one of those things that you could speak into existence just by making too big of a deal about it, I think. And I think he's super happy. I think he knows exactly how much this organization values him. And I think Bean is going to make him a very happy man next year. I don't think it's going to happen this year, and I don't think it needs to happen this year. He's just this is not an organization that doesn't reward hard work and it's not like they don't appreciate what players do for them. I think that next to Josh Allen, Stefan Diggs is the second person on this team that's done the most to help. And you can say, there's a lot of people, a lot of places, but those two dudes are superstars, and neither of them came from much anything. You know what I mean? Josh Allen especially. Stefan Diggs, he thought that he'd already peaked. Like, he was afraid that people would think that he peaked in Minnesota, and that's why he wanted out, and that's why he came to Buffalo. And, I don't know. I think that if he had his way, he would retire here and play until he couldn't play anymore. I don't think he's that kind of player that he's, the Bills are going to stop him before he runs his wheels off in another 25 years or whatever, something like that. But he's going to play some really solid ball here. He's going to get paid. I don't see it being a problem.
Yep. Contracts will work themselves out when they're supposed to. Contracts will happen when they're supposed to. That is kind of what Bean said. And listen, this is just the way the business works. Every 2 or 3 years, wide receivers running all these positions, they get someone that breaks the bank, and then everybody wants to get paid that much. If it was the case that everybody else that's better than him gets paid that same amount of money, then you should sign 2 or 3 year contracts. When you sign 5-year contract, 6-year contract, you better, unless you're all pro every year winning Super Bowls, you best believe you're going to have to wait till the 2 years left or 1 year left in your contract to renegotiate. So he knows that. And damn well Bean and McDermott and the front office, they're transparent with these guys by the way these guys are not signing with other teams and then signing later because they have to work out the money. Sit back, let's figure this out. We're going to hook you up. Just hang out a little bit until we figure out what we're going to do, and we're going to do it for you. That's exactly what Bean's going to do for Diggs next year. We don't have the money right now, but Diggs has got 2 years left. I can guarantee you there's going to be something special next year, especially renegotiating, restructuring, maybe Allen's, maybe White's, maybe some of the other bigger cap players. It's going to happen. Bean keeps an open conversation. He's transparent about it. These players know that they can trust him, and they know that they will give them what they deserve. So I have no qualms. People relax, chill out. It's going to get done. If it doesn't happen this year, it doesn't matter. It will happen next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's due for the next 2 years to make 13.5 million for the next 2 years. Also, one of those things where when they re-sign these players or sign these players to come in this past couple of weeks here to play with this team, they've all been preaching family, and wanting to be here. And what two better people to have right up front for everyone to see than Diggs and Allen. So they're representing more than just being two great players. They're representing what the family of this mafia and what the family of this Buffalo Bills organization represents. And they're right up in front and center. And Swank, I think you shared a picture of those two on Sports Illustrated a couple of weeks ago, which is awesome. But, I think there's more to it. And people read too much into the tweets and the Twitter and all those comments. Just let it be. Mr. Diggs is a professional athlete. He's got his agent, and Bean and him will work things out. And I hope that he gets what he deserves. So, and I think it will happen. So.
Yeah, I mean,
they all get what they deserve. It's called a Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I think that's what they all care about right now. I mean, obviously taking care of themselves, but don't forget, Scott's brought this up before. Diggs got his contract. Diggs got a big contract.
He got paid.
Yeah, and he does deserve to continue to get paid, and maybe obviously a little bump and whatever, man. But I don't think it's about that anymore. If it was about that, he wouldn't have said anything in Minnesota. If he was okay with sitting around making a bunch of money and not getting the ball as much as he wants, or being in a position that he thought, wasn't going to get him all the way, but hey, he was getting paid and he was playing football. That's not what that dude's about at all. He's about being out there, giving it 100, and making his team the best it can be. And if it's got that trajectory to make it all the way, that's where he wants to be, and that's where he is, man. So I don't think it's as much about the money. I don't think he's pissed off about that. I don't think he can be. And just because trash teams like the Jaguars are throwing stupid money at players that don't deserve it,
they're paying 2/3 string wide receivers first string money.
Yeah, Zay Jones is making ridiculous money. How I like Zay Jones. I don't like him as a football player. But I like him. I don't have anything against him other than he just never was what he was advertised to be, and then he left here and he still wasn't what he was, and now he's on his third team and he hasn't done anything, and he's getting paid like he's done something. And it's mind-boggling to me, Trevor Lawrence is not going to take that next step throwing bombs to Zay Jones, right? So I think between Bean, McDermott, the whole coaching staff, the owners, that core, just value that they put the process, man. It's all about the process. It's all about this family. It trumps everything. They try to put dirt on McDermott. They try to say him and Dable didn't get along. I wouldn't get along with Dable either.
Not all good business people, not all good businesses, not all good teams and all that stuff. They're all hunky-dory with one another. Yeah. Dable's trying to prove himself as a head coach worthy offensive coordinator. Of course they're going to clash. They all have their own minds, their own opinions. If they don't get along, that's just part of the process. You have hundreds of people in your front office and players and training staff and all that stuff. You're not all going to get along. So when I hear stories about coordinators, defensive coordinators, head coaches, and players not getting along, that's life. And people need to stop making a big deal of it.
Well, and football is football, right? You guys played. I never played, but I've been around enough. I've seen enough. It's not like this coddly, especially at this level. It's you come in, you do your job, you do what's expected of you. You're getting paid millions of dollars, and you all want this common goal. And the thing that separates a bad team from a good team, aside from talent, but we all saw the Browns, right? Talent doesn't mean much unless you got that coach to bring it all together.
Right.
And the coaching staff and the GM, like that, if you have that foundationally there, like look at what happened. Look at what kind of chaos the Bills were in for years because they didn't have the right either coach or the right GM, or they would for a year or two and then stuff would get blown up. And, you know, it's just be so grateful for what we got right now. Like, that's it.
No, for sure. For sure.
Patrick Hughes is going. For sure. That's my line.
Let's say hi to Paulette first. Paulette says, hi, fellas. Go Bills. Hello, Paulette.
Paulette.
Hi, Paulette.
Welcome.
Patrick Hughes, can we talk about the bad move from the Dolphins giving up 5 draft picks for Hill when they don't have a quarterback?
All right. So this is when I see this happening. This is what we're going to do because a lot of the free agent stuff, because we only got an hour show going on. With all this stuff going on in free agents, why don't next week we come back and talk about the AFC East? You want to do that? Sure. And all that stuff that's happened?
I'll give you a sneak peek really fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Scott asked me on Sunday who I thought won that trade between the Chiefs and the Dolphins, and I said the Bills because the Chiefs got a little worse and the Dolphins got very marginally better, and I think it just kind of like evens it out, like not evens it out to where the Dolphins and the Chiefs are the same team, but it just kind of like did this little teeter-totter where now the Bills have a better chance. They don't have to guard Tyreek Hill in Kansas City, and in Miami they don't have anybody to throw it to him. So I like it. It just kind of made everybody a little bit more average.
Yeah, so. I agree. That's exactly my same take, Swank.
Yep.
I think KC got a little bit downgrade because Tyreek Hill is something else, and Miami got a little bit better because they still have Tua, and they got a lot of work to do. So
pretty sure the Bills were putting up. Pretty sure the Bills were putting up 40-plus points on that Miami defense, so they should worry about the defense more than that offense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We also got a couple questions about Edmonds. So Paul was asking, does Edmonds get a new contract or does he become trade bait? I think earlier on it might have been Paul again or somebody else was asking about, you know, even though they liked Edmonds, would he be potential trade prospect? What do you guys think?
Two-time Pro Bowler. He is the general in that defense. He is the middle linebacker of that number 1 defense. I personally don't think he's done enough. I think this is the reason they haven't given him an extension. Let him make his $13 million this year. I think it all depends on what he does this year. This is a big year for him. Pro Bowls are one thing. I like them. I think they are. They mean something. But the Pro Bowls, if anything, are going to help us get a big trade. But we wouldn't be trading him because his contract would be over with. We just wouldn't be re-signing him. So big year for Trey Edmonds. It all depends on what he does this year.
A stat that a lot of people don't see about Tremaine Edmonds is his pass coverage, and him and Milano ranked really high when it comes to covering receivers and running backs coming out of the backfield. One of the big things that Edmonds gets credit for is taking away the middle of the field because he is a lengthy linebacker. So even though he might over pursue every once in a while, and that's this big flaw, right? He runs past the play. He makes up for it in that taking away the whole center of that middle linebacker field. So I think he's doing really good as a linebacker. That's why we don't hear much about him right now. And I think he'll be back, and I hope they re-sign him to a couple more years. But I think he's doing the job. I think he's going to be able to look at his progress and look at film and realize that he's over pursuing. He's a fast guy. So him getting to A to B is quick. So he's got to learn to maybe step down and make some contact with some of these guys to slow that pursue down. So I think they'll get him back eventually, but I don't know when. But I think he's doing a damn good job.
Patrick Hughes says Von Miller will make him better. Just watch. That's a really good point, I think.
Yeah.
I think Von's going to come in and kind of give a lot of these younger guys some good guidance and a good map to follow.
Jordan Phillips and Tim Settle will also do a good job at making Edmonds a better middle linebacker.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. What do you guys think about, okay, so I think when people talk about Edmonds and they talk about trading him, they're always talking about him living up to his first round, like, destiny, right? Like, he's supposed to be Josh Allen, right? we got Josh in the first, and he should be a middle linebacker like Josh Allen is a quarterback. I don't think that's fair. I think he's still young. I think he's got a lot to grow into still and a lot of upside. And I think the point that I'm trying to make is that, like, the Bills do best with that kind of guy, right? He's slower developing, I think, than some of the other guys that they've had like that. If he stays where he's at, is he worth keeping for less money, right? Like, we don't have to have, like, a blockbuster middle linebacker signed to, like, a 3-year, $50 million deal, right? Like, we could have a 5-year deal for, like, 20, right? And have, like, a really beastly, solid middle linebacker that, like, could still grow into something. Maybe this is a plus for the Bills in the money cap column as opposed to, like, a negative for the play time. You know what I mean? And in amongst that, be drafting other middle linebackers as competition, because he hasn't had any competition to come in and push him around. So if you got a second-round middle linebacker or whatever, somebody that was hungry that could come up and be like, look, let's go, you know, maybe that's a better way to look at it. And I guess that's the way I look at it, where it's like, yeah, maybe he's not a home run, but he's not a strikeout. Like, he's a solid player, and he's a physical specimen. So I want to think there's something there. I'll tell you what, Swank.
If the Bills go best player available with this 25th pick and go after a Nakobe Dean or a Devin Lloyd, linebackers in the first round, then Tremaine Edmonds better strap that helmet on a little tighter and get the pads ready, because that would definitely suggest to me that, Tremaine, you're playing your last year of your contract. These guys are going to train under you, and they're going to be your replacement. So we'll see a lot in the draft for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's healthy, man. And you know what I love about the Bills is they don't hide anything. Like, not from players like that, you know? Like, obviously they do their sneaky little draft free agency stuff. But, like, if they draft a dude like that, you know, it's like, yeah, that's why we drafted him.
Yep.
And he's only 23 years old. He's got two or three more 5-year contracts to sign in his life.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Maddox, a guest on our show a couple times, says if once he starts, he is young, and once he starts getting a little older and knows his body more, he will be a dominant force to be reckoned with.
He's got to make that. Yeah, he's got to make that contact. He's got to step up and put his body on people. And we've seen him put his body on Derrick Henry. Yeah. I mean, he's not afraid to hit, but he's got to take those guards and those tackles on.
It's there. And, like, maybe being banged up last year, maybe he didn't fully recover, maybe all the snaps, you know. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty obvious the linebackers don't get rotated out the way the line does, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. But also, like, you're a football player. You should want to be out there all the time, you know. So there are a lot of arguments either way. I want to believe in him still. I want to think that it all clicks and makes sense, and you know that the strength and conditioning team are like sitting there like, look, let's get you. You know, I mean he's in great shape, but like let's do what we got to do, and like you really gotta.
Your
shoulder's fine, man.
Defensive player of the year, Tremaine Edmonds.
What? There you go.
Wow. Homer take 2 of the night.
Wow.
Oh, there he is. Welcome, Jarrod. All right, guys. Hey, listen. There's also one big thing that happened today. The overtime rules are officially in effect. I didn't read too much into them. Maybe Scott or Swank can elaborate more. But as far as both teams are going to have possession of the ball, right? And that's as far as I know. Scott, can you elaborate more on that?
Both teams get the ball. Obviously, the next score, if say both teams score, the next score wins. Same overtime rules, and it's only during the playoffs.
Postseason only.
Yeah. The reason why they did that is because throughout the regular season, history has shown that it's pretty much close to 50% of whoever wins, right? Mm-hmm. And in the playoffs this past year, the individuals who won the toss won 10 times. The ones who didn't won twice. So there's a huge discrepancy with that. So that's why they changed it for the playoffs.
Sure. You want to know why they changed it? Because 90% of America wanted to see Josh Allen get the ball one more time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they changed it.
He earned it.
He should have. Yep, he should have. Which brings this question, Swank. If you're the Buffalo Bills and you're in the playoffs and you get to overtime and there's a coin toss and you win it, do you want the ball first or are you kicking? Pandemonium. You want it the ball first or are you kicking?
Want the ball first because I have trust in Josh Allen to drive down there and put 7 on the board. And that means if you are committed to this rule and the way it is, that when you agree you're getting the ball second, that you have to have in your mind that you got to go for 2. If you want to end it, that's what you got to do. And I think if you have somebody like Josh Allen on the team and he can drive down there with that juice and put it right in the end zone right off the bat and say, go ahead. You know, I think you absolutely want the ball. And I think if they would have got that coin toss there in the overtime, they would have wanted the ball too. You know, so it was really interesting listening to WGR today and listening to him like hash it out and really put it in perspective as far as like why it's not a rule during the regular season and it is in the preseason. You guys just put out the percentages. But one of the points that I thought was super interesting is like you're not getting into the playoffs with a bad offense, right? Like, so if you're in there, you can score at least a little. And that's why the odds get skewed so bad. And it's funny to watch, like, from an outsider's perspective, be like, wow, those teams are actually really the elite teams. like we joke around about, like, oh, this one stumbled in backwards or whatever. But really, like, these teams are the ones that can score. They're the ones that can stop. Yeah, they're, you know, just the best of the best. And it's not the same as, like, you know, if the Jaguars and the Cowboys are playing each other, you know.
Right,
like,
right.
It's just a different game when you're in the playoffs. So
definitely is. Scott, what's your take?
Here's my vague answer. My mind tells me defer, take the second possession. That way you know exactly what you need to do to win the game. But I'm not a coach, but I think I could be one. And my coach's instinct tells me you got to feel out the players. You got to feel out the situation. If we just scored 3 consecutive touchdowns and shut out their offense to tie the game, to make it go into overtime, you better damn well know I'm giving that ball back to that offense because I know the defense is going to stop. Yep. It's all situational. If it's somewhere where the offense has been struggling and you need your defense to go out there, then I kick it to them, let my defense do what they got to do, give my offense a little break to get their shit together, and then figure it out offensively. Give my offense more time to think about, and my offensive coordinator more time to think about what kind of plays we're going to use. So it's all situational, but with our current team, Josh Allen on that side, and that number 1 defense backing them up, I say take the ball, score a touchdown, and let those guys go all 4 downs in a row and turn the ball over on downs for the Bills' victory.
Yep.
So I'm there with you. My perspective is, if you're looking back at this Kansas City playoff game, obviously the defenses were both winded, right? And that's what it comes down to, is both offenses were in a groove and they were scoring and no one could stop them. And it was mainly because the defense wasn't able to catch up. So that being said, I'm giving Josh Allen that ball because I know he can drive down and score, but I also know that that's giving that defense a little bit more air, a little bit more oxygen, energy to come out. And if you saw your offensive score, now there's going to be that little adrenaline rush to be like, okay, we have one right now, we got to stop. So it'll be interesting to see. It's a fun rule. It's going to be fun to see. And I can't wait to watch September. I think Brent Thomason said it's September here yet, and it's closer than what you think.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. All right, Pandemonium. If you left a comment during the live show tonight, you're going to be up for the running for this Levi Wallace COA jersey. And if you don't want it, hopefully you have a Steelers fan buddy or girlfriend or anybody that you want to give it to. So,
real quick, is there anybody in the comments that doesn't want that jersey just because he's not here anymore, man? I'd take that jersey. If you guys don't want it, just send it to me.
As always, we like to close out the night with a little bit of closing thoughts. Let Swank know if you want that jersey or not. But as we're doing that, we're doing closing thoughts really quick. Scott, closing thoughts for tonight.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the New York Giants and New York Jet fans that live in New York. Thank you guys for helping pay for the Buffalo Bills' new stadium. Uh, and no part of your money is ever going to those Jersey teams. My final thought: Rich Stadium, Ralph Wilson Stadium, Highmark Stadium, New Era. That stadium deserves a Super Bowl. So we have 4 years until 2026 happens. We're at our 50-year mark here in this stadium, the underground bowl with the wings. It's a landmark for people that have been fans for 50 years. It's a landmark for us young bucks at 40 that have been watching for the last 30. This is a big step. And this is the time the Bills need to make it to the Super Bowl and win it for that stadium, for that piece of that landmark that we all know and love, and we will always know as the stadium names that I just mentioned before. So, Buffalo, I know, you can't tell the players because they know it. These next 4 years are very important to Bills fans that have been watching for the last 50 years. So go win one for the stadium, Rich, Ralph Wilson, Highmark, New Era, all that. Go win one for that stadium. It's a big part of us. Go Bills.
That is a fucking hot take. That was great, Scott. I didn't expect that. That's something else I didn't even think about. Awesome. Swank.
Nicely said, man.
Follow that
Nicely
one.
Said. That's actually what my take was. Scott just took it. Told him all that before the show.
My eyes seriously got a little watery talking about that because it has been.
Yeah, I got a little pumped up too.
I've been a fan for 40 years or 32 years, and as good as change is, that last game is going to be heartbreaking. And if we don't have a Super Bowl to go along with it, it's going to be very emotional for all of us. I could tell you that.
Yeah, man. No, I agree. I think that's the take of the year. That's the take of season 3 so far, man. Nicely done.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's great.
I think things are trending exactly the way that we all hoped that they would trend for the last 20 years, 30 years, however long you want to say it. It's great to know where we are now as compared to where we were 6 years ago even. Like we were saying earlier, I was talking to Scott and the boys about, like, we didn't know if Donald Trump was going to buy the team and move it to L.A. We didn't know who our coach was going to be. We didn't know who our quarterback was going to be. I was literally, like, I did not know how to act when they made it in the playoffs. The very first time with Tyrod, I had no idea how to act. I was just so used to being in that rut and being like, well, they're not going to be good this year. Well, they're not going to make it this year. Well, we're the laughing stock of the NFL. Well, they're still my team. This is just what it is. I had no idea what to do with myself. And now you have this team that has been in the playoffs 3 consecutive years, that made it to an AFC championship game, that has one of the best offenses in the NFL, the best quarterback in the NFL, the top defense in the NFL, the best head coach in the NFL, the best GM in the NFL, and you're getting a brand new stadium with the best owners in the NFL. Like, realize what you have. We talk about this all the time. Live in this moment, because the 17-year droughts and the 4-and-out Super Bowls, like, those things happen too. These things are the things that people who love a team cherish forever. So just be present in this moment right now. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those places. You can listen to the audio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. And, Scott and I, we're doing our draft show on Sunday mornings. A little dirka-dirka-doo pre-draft analysis with Scotty and Swank. 11 a.m. Sundays. And, we're doing this here show right here, the K-Gun Report. We do it every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with all you lovely sons of bitches. And, that's Facebook. That's YouTube. Hey, we're on Twitter now, man. Streaming on Twitter now, man.
Tweet.
Go Bills.
Guys, real quick, next week's show, April 5th, we have special guest Nick Fierro on. If you pay attention to our page, our group page, he writes a lot of that SI Sports Illustrated, a lot of those little articles, quite a few of them. And we love the stories, whether you agree with them or not. He's very good at what he does. His opinions are awesome, and he'll be a special guest on next week.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk football with him. All right, guys. So based on what you two just said, it got me thinking that there's no way I'm going to be able to match you guys. So got a lot of good things, guys. Pretty much
for sure.
Enjoy the ride, right? And the ride happened 2 weeks ago when stuff started to hit. People started to get re-signed and moves have been started to get made. So enjoy the whole ride. That's what we do here at Buff Fandemonium. Swank, Scott, and I enjoy the whole ride. And I know a lot of you do too. So let's get back here. Actually, Sunday we'll talk about a little bit more draft stuff, and then let's get back next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's going to be live right here, right? All three of us, potentially? Right here in this studio.
Potentially.
Two of us for sure.
Two of us
We're going to be on each other's shoulders.
So it'll be Scott and Swank with maybe special guest Jarrod.
I'll be there. Anyway, that's a first song reference in the first 3 shows. But guys, we'll see you next Tuesday at the Kagan Report, 8 o'clock with special guests. We can't wait to talk football with them. And until then, be safe. Go Bills.
Draft party April 28th starting at 7 p.m. Join the event. Go Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Go. I'll be there. Bills!
This is a dangerous group.